To create a texture, you have to place the image you would like to make a texture into your project's texture folder. You will find this by going into your Mobile Mill folder and selecting Workspace, your project's name, and then Textures. Remember that PNG images work better as they are higher quality than JPEG files. I've got the two images for this example off Google, making sure they are labelled for reuse. You then put the image or images you want to make a texture into your Textures folder. Once you have done this, you can open the Mobile Mill software and open your project, and your images should appear in the Asset View window under the Textures tab. If you have already got Mobile Mill open, you can simply click the refresh button in the Asset View window and your new textures will appear. Once you have your textures, you need to put them in your Designer View window by going App, Main Window, GL window _1, and then Scene Manager, before right-clicking on Scene Manager _1. You then go Quick Create, GL, 2D, GL Sprite. You will then need to click on the component you have just made in the project window, which will be called GL Sprite, followed by a number. Each sprite you create with your texture will be named like this, with the number climbing the more sprites you include. You will then need to go over to the Properties window and click on the value box of Texture Location and select the texture you would like to make a sprite. Your sprite will then load in the center of your Designer View window after you press Enter. You can then move your sprite around using the arrow axis that appear in the middle of your image, or use the Properties window to move, scale, and rotate amongst other things, like this. After you've had a play with the scale and positioning, you can launch what you have in the IDE. You will see in the log window that Visual Studio is loading up, and this may take a moment before it loads. When Visual Studio has loaded, it will look blank. You need to click Local Windows Debugger. This will start to build your project so you can see how your project looks in current time. Your project, when built, will then load in a new window like this, and Visual Studio will run diagnostics for as long as you keep the window showing your project open. The texture I have chosen is a little large for the project window, as you can see from when I maximize and adjust the window, so we'll edit the scaling. Let's try scaling the image down to about half its original size and move it to the right a little and see what it looks like. As you can see, the image is now smaller in the window, and you can see more of it as it's positioned to the right. Now we will animate the image using paths and anchor points. First of all, you need to select the Scene Manager to create your path and make it a child of the Scene Manager like the GL Sprite. To do this, you will need to go Quick Create, GL, Objects, Path 3D. This will then start you on your path. Next, you need to start creating anchor points for your path. I'm going to make the first anchor point the center of my GL Sprite as a starting point. To create an anchor point, you need to go to Quick Create, GL, Objects, Anchor Point. When I have created that anchor, I now need to anchor my GL Sprite to the path by going into the Properties window and selecting the Path option. In this case, it is Path3D, Path3D _1 as the anchor. After that, you can create your other anchor points within your path and place them wherever you wish, and you will see a white line joining the anchor points. This is your path, which by default is set to line, giving you a straight line between your anchor points. But you can also make your path type CR Spline, which makes the lines between the paths more flexible. I will show you what each look like when I have finished the path. Now to make the path work in Visual Studio, you have to select your sprite and go down to the Events header in the Properties window and type in OnInitialDraw into the empty box next to where it already says OnInitialDraw. You also need to go into the code of your project in Visual Studio, which I will load up now. Go into the Solution Explorer window of Visual Studio and select your project's name, source files, and then main.cpp. You will then have to type some code under // generated creation -end, which is void main on initial draw open bracket close bracket space open bracket path 3d _1 dot play all open bracket null pointer comma space null pointer comma space true close bracket semicolon to make your project work. So let's open Windows Debugger to see the path in action. And there you have it.